think the honorable thing for our species to do is deny our programming. Stop reproducing. Walk hand in hand into extinction. One last midnight, brothers and sisters opting out of a raw deal.
Do not trust any friends or family members. I repeat, do not trust my friends.
Oh, I think, was it Avatar? Were you fussy about Avatar?
Oh, yeah. Well, no, I wasn't fussy about it. I am a little surprised, though. Like, you sent the link, the little news report that said that Avatar is doing well, and I shake my head every time.
Yeah, you get us every time. I think we underestimate how much society loves a big dumb spectacle. Is really what it is.
Yeah, and
James
you like
Cameron,
it. Yeah, it's James Cameron. It's a theater. I did the. I suppose maybe it was insightful, maybe it wasn't, but the fella, it's that newsletter thing that I subscribe to where he does statistical analyses of various movie trends or stuff like that, and sometimes it's interesting, sometimes it's not. But then he did one on the cultural impact of Avatar, and like kind of measuring it according to like meme content, measuring it according to like Google searches and something else, and it ranks very low, in comparison to, I don't know, The Hunger Games or something like that.
Fair.
Just to pick an example that I'm remembering, and yet it makes so much money. And so he does all the analysis and blah, blah, blah. And I kind of skimmed through it because I was like, why are you doing this? And because at the end, he kind of answered my question or kind of agreed with me. He was just like, I remember going to the movie the first time and they handed me some 3D glasses and I watched the movie and it was like, wow, it was a big movie, big 3D movie spectacle at the theater when those things don't exist in the theater anymore, or they're very rare. And so he was like, probably people just want to do that.
I think that's it. And I think I remember going to the first one in the theater, and like, I'm sure we probably talked about this, I don't know about on the podcast before, but like, it was impressive. Like, it was an advancement of the 3D technology and a showcase for it in the way that like a video game demo or something like that, like, was like, wow, imagine if people took this concept for like a shitty movie, but like actually applied that to like a script that was good. Yeah. You could do anything with 3D. It's an end in itself, and like no one's ever going to do that with 3D. It's just going to be James Cameron churning these things out because people like to see like pretty effects on a screen.
Yeah. So I think it's just like maybe it's just that, like, but I will say, watching those movies outside the theater, which is all I've ever done, they're just painful.
Yeah. I can't even imagine. There'd be no point.
Yeah. And this one just looks so much worse than all of them. I mean, I guess maybe I do suspect, and as much as I don't care about like box office numbers and stuff, it's still kind of interesting to talk about. I expect there's going to be an attrition from number 1 and number 2, right? The numbers are still going to be big, but they're going to be lower than the previous ones. I mean, I could easily be wrong about that, but I just feel that audience attrition is a thing.
That holiday mark. I think that there's like a trend. People are off. They want to see something they can do with their family, and then they just go to these things. And I don't know if they're like there's almost like a franchise. It's reliable. You can go again with your family because it'll be it'll be pap that like no one's going to be offended. It'll be a little bit uplifting. It'll reinforce messages of family, and then everybody kind of like walks out and like forgets about it 2 minutes later.
Okay. All right. Okay. So no attrition, says the Reverend. Okay.
Or minimal attrition.
Minimal attrition. Minimal. You know what? I'll buy that for $1. That makes sense.
Not to go too far afield, but like I was seeing how AMC was like confident that their like end of year quarter was going to be like really good, and I was like, what are you talking about? But then Avatar, and then the like apparently Stranger Things is airing its last episode in theater, and I was like, oh, okay.
Oh yeah, okay. That's gonna be big.
Yeah, those are 2 guaranteed hits, I'm sure.
Yeah, Gabby Hayes big.
Yeah.
They haven't. The last time 3D was a thing in the theater, I think it was, I don't know, 1950s, 1960s. It's like time travel, right?
Yeah, it's like you want to see like something giant and blue featured at large.
Yeah. Here on the Extinction Agenda with James
And Chris.
Oh, and I don't have a thing for you. I'm sorry. I think that's only from when we're all three of us together.
Yeah, that's fair.
Although maybe I did it last time. I don't recall for the Watchmen episode. But today on the Extinction Agenda, we're doing Watchmen number 4, published December 1986. So this is a 39-year-old comic. Put that in your fucking pipe. I suppose next year will be its 40th anniversary. And this is I don't know, it's kind of a big one within the series. It's a standout episode. We're going to get a focus in on Dr. Manhattan, on John Osterman, and everything that comes with it. I think, just sort of as table setting, one of the things that I had in mind about issue 3, a little pet theory, is continued or maybe demonstrated by issue 4, is I think that we had originally said that we were going to play a drinking game where irony is used, and every once in a while, like every time irony is said, you got to take a drink. But I think irony is being eliminated from the Watchmen and has been since issue 3. And what we're seeing instead is like the accumulation of signs and the overlapping of signs and events. This book does it a little bit different, but you rarely get those panels where, like, I don't know, someone's sad and someone says, and then the panel caption says something the opposite, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's going to continue throughout. I don't know if that's a trend, but I just wonder if like that's what happened with issue 3.
I would suspect that I did notice that too, and I would suspect that it's fun for a bit, but if you did it consistently all the time, it would just be predictable and kind of irritating.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll get some supreme irony as we proceed.
Yeah, very likely.
It seems likely. At least once, right? We're gonna. Ironic. Okay.
There might be a little bit of a genre effect too. I was just thinking, like, because like the sort of like the noir of the first couple issues plays really well with that. But this is something different entirely.
Oh, okay. I like that. I like that idea. And you mean that because like this is more super heroic or science fiction-y?
Yeah, and philosophical.
Yeah. Okay. So how did you feel rereading issue number 4?
Oh, no regrets. I've been looking forward to this one, and and it's it is lived up to my memory. You always worry if like you revisit things later in life and like you kind of see through them a little bit, but
yeah,
this is great.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think the only thing that I continue to find myself a little disappointed in is the relationship between Dr. Manhattan and Silk Spectre, Laurie, because they portray him as so detached, and even like in his like the depiction of the relationship with him and with Laurie, he's like, what does he say? Like, I'll never feel hot or cold again, right? Like, what is this desire that is supposedly driving him to want to fuck a 16-year-old? Like, it's not. I believe that it could be there subliminally or something, but it's not really depicted. Like he's kissing, but you're like, the lead up to that's so weird.
There's no sense that he would have any sort of like sensory activity at all. The one thing I think, well, I'm sure we'll get into that, but the way I understood John's emotional state is that sort of like he's distant, like not that he doesn't have emotions, but like he's experiencing everything all at once. So like there's distance from any given thing. And I kind of thought about it that way.
Yeah,
that does not explain a 16-year-old thing.
No, it doesn't. I'm increasingly of the opinion that Moore wrote themselves into a corner and just kind of had to go with it.
Yeah, actually, that could be. That's probably it.
Didn't quite realize it, and just everybody. This is the first time, it might be the Epstein thing or whatever, or just like becoming a 40-year-old man, where like teenagers look like actual children at this point.
Yeah, I felt that hard.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we start off with a 10-second countdown, which I think is very nice. There's 2 countdowns in this story. On the first page, it's a 10-second countdown, and then the rest of the story is a 2-hour countdown until we get to the meteor shower at the end. And I like that countdown function because like there's time is still going forward. We're given some sort of indicator that time is going forward, but for the rest of the story, time is all over the place, forward, backward, no, mostly forward and backward. The forward is especially weird.
You mean events that haven't happened yet?
That's correct. Yeah. Like his being able to predict the future
Yes.
adds an extra element to it, and like that's one of the things that adds the contributes to the philosophical nature of this. A lot of stuff about predestination
and how much future does he have access to? Because I think there's a taking him off the board, which is probably necessary for the plot to go forward. But I know that he comes back at some point, so he would have he must have a sense of what's coming too.
They more intelligently addresses that, if I remember, and I remember this only because of having watched the. I suppose I remembered it anyway, but they cover it in Snyder's Watchmen adaptation. Okay. They give a different explanation for the apocalypse at the end, but like I might as well just say, like later on, he's going to say, "I can't see past a certain point. Perhaps there was a nuclear war." Like some sort of event happened to obscure my vision of the future. Kind of a cop-out, but whatever.
Okay. That actually, sure. I mentioned I've been interested in this theme of time, like all like the Watchmen, obviously, and I'm still tracking that. I think it's possible that it just sort of is an associative thing, but. Like this, obviously, time is stamped all over this issue, and like the ideas of the doomsday clock, and I think maybe some of it is just like that overhanging, like the inadequacy of heroes to solve actual complex problems. It's like the part of like the world that's bigger than what we can solve, and then just we're ticking towards it.
Yeah, and even John, I think one of the both frustrating and interesting things about John is that, at least as I read it this time, he's a young man who is kind of pushed around by his dad. He says explicitly when he meets Janie Slater, he says, I wrote it down, whatever. Other people seem to make all my moves for me. And so then when the only act of will that he really performs is sort of reassembling himself, which is not nothing, of course, reassembling himself out of like having been completely annihilated. But after that point, like that passivity of his, we'll call it his mortal form, maintains, right? Like and I did find myself wondering, like, what if the comedian got those powers, right? Like, would he be all into this predestination bullshit, or like would he be so passive about the future and everything? I don't know. I think that kind of brings a richness to it that, like his sort of metaphysic, born of his youth and his upbringing, shapes him even as a god.
That is very possible.
Yeah.
One of the things I really admire about this too, though, is that I was thinking about this anecdote. I think this Moore talks about this in a pamphlet he did about writing comics, and right. He was talking about how, like, when he was writing, he had to write like the DC demon Etrigan.
Oh, yeah. I've read this. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and he's like stomping around his house, and he's like trying to like form his jaw in different ways to like imagine he has fangs and all this stuff, and he just gets so deep into the characters. Like there's a method to the way that he conceives of these things, and I love the like how he takes that, like just this power that John has, like all these powers, and like and that sort of detachment from time, and then like really gives you a pretty good like eye-opening sense of what it might be like to be able to see all things at once. And it just seems like it's just like everything just seems so weighed down. So I don't know if the comedian got it would be a bit different, but I feel like there'd still be some some distancing from like whatever whatever urgency animates him.
Yeah. Maybe a bad example, but like maybe good example in the sense that it's a limit case or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you feel that he would just turn into like a Emperor Joker or something. Like,
yeah, that can be true.
But we don't get that. We got this, and the way they choose to depict it, and this is, I think this was already mentioned. It is like we see in The Invisibles, this concept that comic books are time travel, and you can going from panel to panel, flipping the pages, all that sort of thing. This is that idea done in a really sort of crystalline form, and I think it's also to contrast it in another way with something that Morrison would do with this very same concept. This is so melancholy. Like you called it heavy. I mean, it's dour. It is heavy, right? Like immediately there. Okay, so we're like there's the. Despite the fact that he's on fucking Mars, he's a dude, like just kind of moping, kind of nostalgic. And he's slowly overcoming that nostalgia, I think, over the course of this issue, whereby at the end, like, I suppose all these things are still weighing on him, but he's moved away from it. And it's symbolized initially by like dropping the photograph at his feet, and realizing all we ever see of stars are their old photographs. And I guess it's kind of, he's looking at the universe, not just like internally, but externally as some sort of like you're always in the past. You're trapped in this. You're trapped in the past, right? And as the Superman who can see the future, he's especially trapped. But nonetheless, like he's moving forward.
Yeah,
kind of exercising.
I thought about that, the photograph as a symbol, and just like what is a photo? But it's time that is trapped, and it can never be changed again. Like, so you think it's going to bring back these memories, but actually like that moment is now written. It's deterministic. Like nothing can change that again. And that's, that idea hangs heavy over the whole thing, even in terms of like later on when he's building the palace, like he's talking about the sand, and like it's it seems to have so much potential in terms of a shape, but actually like time, like shape is not just matter, it's also space and like what happens in time, and that's a dimension of it. And like, so it's going to be something that's set in glass, but like nothing you can do is like everything is already written to him.
Oh, and I found an irony. Take a drink. He's talking about how on Mars there is no hourglass to trap the sand, but the whole time he's holding the sand in his hand and letting it fall through his fingers, like it's in order to create a constrained form, I suppose.
Exactly. And to like in the form of like a clockwork palace, which like, there's no clocks here, there's no this, but then of course he's there to create that.
Yeah, with the spires and whatnot. But the cogs, the which again like adds to this notion of the past influencing the present on this. Big surprise, but you would imagine that a godlike creature would be able to escape the confines of their earthly personality, but still no. But I guess that that's the stars. Like history is the stars in this, or the stars are history. Yeah. I'm going to look at the stars. They are so far away, and their light takes so long to reach us. And so that's why we go back in time, and the dad is throwing out those cogs, and that is the shape
image. And great image of the like the stars, like they become the cogs on that black cloth. But in both of them, and they both relate to time, and they both relate to like this idea of like an ordered universe.
Yeah. On the second page, we've got him looking, and he refers to the cogs on black velvet. So Matthew and I, we've been watching astronomy videos on YouTube, and just recently. I don't know how long this trend will continue, but it's really cool. And I know it. Like I never spend a lot of time with astronomy. and thinking about like comets and planets and orbits and shit like that. But one of the things that watching these little educational excerpts has sort of shown me or reminded me of, because I guess this was the case as far back as the medieval era, like the sky is clockwork. Like you can, like the orbits, you can count on them, you can calculate them. Like math has a special purchase in space that feels lost on Earth when there's like wind resistance and other things that could, additional gravity. I don't know. I mean, we do pretty good with modeling. And so, like, I don't know, I guess watching those things and listening to Dr. Manhattan talk, it just, like, I was like, okay, like, I know it's dumb to say, but I was like, yeah, it is kind of a clockwork universe, like these things are, like a lot of it is inference, right? Like anyway, won't go on a little tangent there. And I love when, I'm trying to give a name to the force that set them in motion. Watchmaker. Like that's so fucking cool.
Yeah. Did you pick up on the like that, like there's that whole tradition of the watchmaker analogy, William Paley, in theology?
Oh, I was thinking like, but it goes back even further to like the unmoved mover of Aristotle, right? Like it's just a different way of expressing it, like sort of a mechanistic way of expressing the force behind the universe.
For sure.
It gets other names, intelligent design, this thing.
Yeah. But Paley specifically uses the metaphor of a watch, and like his argument is basically like if you found a watch in the bog, then you would ask yourself like, wow, this watch is so complicated. Somebody must have made it, and therefore God made the universe. Like it's such a stupid argument, but and like obviously people pick that apart. But like that there's that whole sense. But I think I like how Moore ties that in with like this, the idea of the watchmaker, and then with Einstein's statement that he should have been a watchmaker, because his like the truth about time and physics and all that is just this like chaotic stew.
Well, it leads to the bomb. Like, exactly. And that's like, and here's another irony. The dad, like it's an ironic statement, So he comes into the room, like John's fixing his watches or whatever, and Dad comes in with the newspaper. Atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima, and like, these are no times for a repairer of watches. This changes everything. There will be more bombs. They are the future. That's horrible, like that's but it's also very relatable, but it's also like kind of an ironic statement, right? Because those bombs could very easily at any moment still right now destroy absolutely everything and eliminate the future as a possibility. What are you doing, Dad?
Is that some real Hank Scorpio energy?
Yeah.
You don't like him? I don't like him either. Get rid of him.
Yep.
Cogs are falling. Yeah, he just like picks up the watch. This is his job, and he's like, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
It's over.
I wonder what his dad. I wonder what his dad. Anymore. Yeah, what does Dad do after that? It's just all done.
Just like he's like a hockey dad, like but for his son with nuclear physics and bomb making, stand over his shoulder all the time.
So the sins of the father are sent upon the child, and we get John goes to Gila Flats and meets Janie, and this one we get a lot of exposition in this one, but I guess it makes sense for us to be able to understand the scientific origin of Dr. Manhattan. It feels very Marvel Comics, actually. Even like Dr. Glass or whatever feels like a Stan Lee stand-in, and we got Wally Weaver.
Yeah. This is a pure like Incredible Hulk sort of origin story.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
I like the. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, it's just weird to think that Dr. Manhattan and the Hulk have so much in common, but they do now that you've said it.
Yeah. I like the they're talking about Einstein. I heard he argued with his wife. Crazy, huh? A guy like that, a genius. Even he couldn't figure out women. And that's like that's another little like ironic nod to all of Dr. Manhattan's problems in the future.
Yeah.
He's human like everyone else.
Yeah. Well, it's like a foreshadowing. I don't know if it's
yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
We only use irony responsibly.
You're right.
Yeah. And yeah, so he meets Janie. Goes is fine. Meets Janie. What do we think? Janie's not particularly impressive. He just likes her.
Well, she's the first woman who's ever like showed interest almost. Like, she buys me a beer.
That's true.
The first time a woman has ever done that for me. Then she passed. So it's like she's a bit pursuing, and so he's interested.
Well, and this is I should have thought of this. This is the time that he says like other people seem to make all the moves for me, and she's like,
exactly.
I bet. Can I get you a drink? And so you're right. I like that we're gonna see later on the obviously there's the picture. So I'm looking at page 6, panel 3. Obviously there's like John with Janie. But then there's the next image, number 4, with the crying kid who's lost his balloon, and that kid's going to show up later. And I just really appreciate how Gibbons and Moore managed to blend and remix all these images that they create within this space, within this time loop, and sort of blend them together. I guess I might as well just show you now what I'm talking about. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah, page 24. So on the top left corner, Laurie's upset about lack of privacy in the military base. He's doing the sand thing. We're back to the photograph, and then they're in New York, and they're talking about the airships in the sky. And then the kid in the other panel is crying about his lost balloons, but he's almost pointing to the air balloons, right?
Oh yeah.
In the other panel, and then that same image of the crying kid to the next panel. Oh, they're happy and they're in another time, but it's like there's all these like repetition of emotional positions, and even like panels pointing between panels and referencing each other. And then the Hiroshima watch is frozen in time, and then the hand grabbing the beer is frozen in time. And it's just such a really incredible sequence as we're approaching the finale. Would you watch me have my molecules fucking annihilated, the intrinsic field ripped from them?
We've known each other for a long time. I would definitely do that for you.
Oh, that's nice. That's right. Janie can't. Yeah. Which is honestly, fuck, that's rough. Yeah,
that's like a one in a like that's a good call, like for like all of human history except for this one time.
Oh, do you think if she would have stayed, he would have not reassembled himself or something, not turned into a ghost?
Maybe he would have been a little more like connected to her. I feel like that's a betrayal that that he like subconsciously. I have no reason to think this. Like, this is pure
I like it though. I like it. Yeah. In his mind, as he's leaving her for for Laurie, stupid bitch didn't want.
Laurie would just watch me deconstruct.
Yeah.
I love these sequences so much. Like this whole page, like all these images. Yeah. It makes me so happy. The brainstem in the mirror.
Yeah, we're getting some more big. I guess we have got big images in the past, but this one feels like it opens up a bit more. We get the explosion. The light is taking me to pieces. Just horrible. I love that. I'm sure I've shared them with you in the past. Like every time November rolls around, people share like on November 10th, you'll get a bunch of memes. It's November 10th. Now there's a circulatory system walking through my kitchen.
I've actually never seen that.
Oh, no, huh? Okay. November 14th. Yeah, no, I'll try to remember. The thing is, I always forget. And I'm like, fuck. But I've seen it. It's pretty, like, when the muscular system is like a partially muscled skeleton stands at the perimeter fence and screams for 30 seconds before vanishing. And then the soldiers just fucking vomiting. Woof.
That one hits hard. I love it.
Yeah.
Metal as fuck.
Yeah. And I guess like we've already talked about this. Well, I actually don't think we talked about it, but like this is we've noticed that Dr. Manhattan gets more naked as time passes. As he
I did notice that a lot.
And but like, we saw it in the other comics, but this one really totally and completely illustrates it.
Yeah, because this one, by the time he's like hanging out with the rioters, he's got like basically a thong that is like wedged right up.
That's it's crazy.
That's
and when
it.
he's like, and when he's with Laurie, he's just like in a gymnast like singlet. Yeah. It's, oh yeah, it is right up his ass, isn't it? That's an interesting choice. and like I like how it slowly happens, and like people can't really tell him to stop, and it's happening so slowly that I don't know, he's just kind of nudging, right? Like it just kind of, before you know it, I think he's being a bully. He's bullying everybody.
Well, or it's like the small measure of control.
Yeah.
The funny, like that phrase, like, in, I guess maybe now is the time I can bring this up. But the like with Laurie, the fact that he is like leached onto her, the way that I just kind of read this time was that like no one is telling him not to do that because no one can, and I like that's horrific too, you know.
Oh well, that's interesting.
Yeah,
the only one who gives him shit is Janie, and then everybody else is pretty okay with it.
well, just like
the fact.
Yeah, just like not saying anything, but just like letting it happen, you know.
Yeah, let's keep an eye out for that and see if anyone talks some shit later on. But I don't think anybody does. I think this is the extent of the shit that's gonna flow on this one.
Yeah, the government's like, oh yeah, like he needs this girl around until he disappears, and then like get the fuck out.
That's right.
And maybe the only thing I can think that connects them is that like they both have that commonality of having a parent who has pushed them into this career.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, they do have that in common. And he pursues her. Yeah, it is a course of action on his part. But like I think my criticism still stands. Like it feels out of character for him to be engaging in this action, but he is drawn to her. Like he is looking at her the whole thing. He's the one kissing her, taking a walk with her, joining on her patrol. Well, actually, that thing's kind of counter to my argument, but yeah, still okay. Well, that's interesting. I'll buy that. Frankly, I'm grasping at straws. Like I'm at sea. I need a life raft in order to figure this shit out. So that's good enough. I did notice that on page 11, panel 8, he's touching Janie the same way that he touches Laurie. We see it later on as well in this very same issue, but they do a flashback to the previous issue before he tried to initiate like a pseudo threesome.
Yep.
Yeah, he just likes to touch women like that. That's such a weird way to touch a woman.
It really is.
You pat their head and you stroke their jaw at the same time, and you're like, yeah, Cynthia would hate that. It'd be hilarious. I should try it. I'm giving you the Dr. Manhattan, baby. Just lay back. Just imagine there's 3 of me. Does all gold actually come from supernovas? I didn't look that up.
I looked it up, and it's true.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because heavier elements are fused out of the processes that happen when a supernova, star explodes, and you need that energy to fuse them.
Okay.
And then form planets eventually. At least that was the AI summary I briefly glanced at.
That's why it's so valuable and why it steers the course of human history.
Yeah. It's all that we're gonna get is already here, and it's not that much. Still a dumb thing to fight about, but that explains it a little better.
Yeah. Well, I think you could say that about everything on planet Earth.
That's true. I like the and going back to the out of character thing, like he's talking about Janie, and like he's like, oh, like I noticed that she's getting noticeably older every day. Is that like on a cellular level or something like that? Like I could see him, noticing things like that, but I don't feel like the individual beauty matters that much to him.
Well, it's also only been 7 years. Like, like I did that. Like I might be wrong about that, but it wasn't that long. Like it's, I don't know. It just wasn't that long. Like the way that she ages in this is, it just seems like a lot, right? Like I don't know what her age is or what it's supposed to be, but she just, maybe it's the fashion, maybe it's something else.
We know she's over 30 because she's like, wait till she sees what it's like when you're 30 and sagging or something like that.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, and she's 30. So come on. This is crazy.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. John,
I gotta get the fuck out of here and get myself a 16-year-old. And like, yeah, it's confirmed that she's 16 because her 20th birthday is 4 years later.
I did the math and he is 35, and that is so gross.
I think he says he's 35. You didn't even need to do the math.
Oh, really?
I think he explicitly says it. Oh, well. Yeah, I'm 35 and I'm standing on the moon or something.
Yeah. Oh, no, he says I'm 56 at that point.
Oh, I see. You're talking about it like in the past. I get it. Okay. Yeah, like I don't want to. I know a girl who lost her virginity at 16 with an older man in like their 30s, and she was totally fine with it. She wanted that, right? Like that was a thing that she wanted. And so like ever since I heard that story, I was like, okay, all right, I was fine, right? Like that can happen. Often it's a trouble. But but I just hear it like, I don't know, it just seems I don't want to complain about it too much. It just seems, but it just continues to kind of grate. Yeah. Oh well.
I agree. Yeah, we just have to live with the fact that it's in here.
Yeah. Just kind of make peace. Just like the comedian makes peace with the immorality of the world. I have so on page 19, the final panel, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, panel 6. I want to submit to you that this is another avatar for the smiley face, the yellow smiley face.
I agree.
I mean, it's easy to make that association. Like he's wearing the little smiley button, but he's literally smiling and he's colored yellow. And we know that his eyeball is going to get splattered with blood, right? So Blake and this kind of cements the relationship or the there's a fancy word for it, but I can't think of it at the moment, so I'm not even going to try to use it. But just like the identity between the button and the man.
Yeah, that's such a great image, and like he literally, John's talking about meeting him, or like he suits the climate here, the madness, the pointless butchery. As I come to understand Vietnam and what it implies about the human condition, I also realize that few humans will permit themselves such an understanding. And like he's just grinning with his flamethrower. And I was thinking about that, like in The Boys when they have that case of flamethrowers. Oh, what a horrible way to like. They're almost like in religious terror of the fact that they're even in existence, right? Like it's a terrible way to kill somebody, terrible way to die. Dangerous as hell. But he's loving it.
Yeah,
I thought about how like it's almost like Blake is the true face of humanity, like how we act, like despite what we say or like the motions towards peace. Like Vietnam is happening, it's here, and he just embraces it all. And that's like there is something like not super heroic about it, but like to see that and just be like, I'm at peace with this is something. It's exceptional. I'll say that.
It is. Yeah. Well, it's villainous, but if it is villainous, it's a villainy that, and it's one of those villainies that you want in fiction because it reflects exactly as you said, like, you know, like something about the human, right? It's not just sympathetic. It's, it echoes, you know, like you see something of the world in it.
Yeah. And also, even like if the smiley face is a symbol of the series and almost of comics, like, or like has some relationship to like a meta thing. Like this is the comedian. It struck me maybe like an emblem of that sort of gallows humor that the text often progresses with itself, and I thought that was kind of neat to think about. Just the cynicism and the irony.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, he is he is a creature of irony. He's the pure source of irony in this text. Like, he wears the smiley face, but he's a fucking murderer. Like, he wears the cartoon peacenik thing, and he's called the comedian, and he's just a murderer. But what separates him from like the Joker or something like that, which isn't much, but the fact that he's engages in sort of realpolitik, like it's not this abstracted evil. It's tied very clearly to imperialism and foreign policy, and American adventures abroad, as some people might call it. And so connects him. Yeah. So he becomes, the irony is latched to something to give it more meaning, rather than just, with the Joker, it's just very abstract. I'm chaos. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's he's perfectly happy to submit himself to like an authority as long as he gets to play the game.
Yeah. And then we get an sorry, unless there was another thing about Blake. I was just going to say that I was going to pivot. Go ahead. Yeah. Well, on page 20, the next page, we get finally like a big blow up. One of the many sort of expanded images that we get here, but still not like the beauty of Watchmen is how patient it is with the full page spread, and you need to give Dr. Manhattan a big moment. You can show how tall he is and big in relation to everything, and because all the panels are so small, generally, like these big things, you really get a sense of his like. It's actually fucking giant. It's such a crazy image. What a dumb way to fight Vietnam. Just walking around like just pointing at things and blowing them up.
Yeah. And like the soldiers, like they want to surrender to me personally.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that
I don't know what to do with that. Sorry, like I don't know if that. I feel like there's a racism embedded in that. Like, or an Orientalism with some kind of ism is embedded in that. Like,
that is quite possible.
It just feels weird. I'm like, the primitives felt that they wanted to submit to the god after you're like, I don't know, Alan. I don't think they would do that. Because it's not like he like showed valor or anything like that. He was just like this jolly green giant blowing things up with his finger. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. That reminded me of the image of him when they make him earlier. They're like, well, the papers are calling you a crime fighter. You got to go fight crime. So he just kind of like shows up, points his finger at the head of the guy.
Yes.
The guy's head is exploding.
Yeah. The woman's fucking freaking out. Ah!
Yeah. The morality of my activities escapes me.
Yeah. Yeah. Fucking that's your MO there, buddy.
I wanted to point to the fact that we got a couple of some clues here. First, when we were last time we were talking about does John cause the cancer in his buddy and in Janie? But here, like that guy gets it like really early, and I do feel like it implies that it's.
You're talking about Weaver?
Yes, he gets it. Actually, I think before. No, sorry. Not Weaver. When John shows up at the experiment, they're like, you're replacing a guy. Like you're pretty young for this, but like that guy died of cancer too. So it just seems like it's the nature of the work that they're doing that's probably given people exposure and like long-term shortening their potential lifespans.
Yeah.
Nice little hint there. And then the when we get to him visiting Adrian, like some really nice foreshadowing going on there with the genetically altered links. It costs a lot to feed, I'm afraid. And then Laurie's saying like, I hadn't realized that eugenics were so advanced. They're talking about how like John's very presence has enabled all these technologies like electric cars, and like just like advances in therapeutics and things like that. So their science, genetic science, has been, and he's like, oh, my scientists are limited only by their imaginations and their consciences. Surely, let's hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then his eyes are sad and knowing, and he's sort of contemplating him at that point. I got a gripe. Eugenics is the wrong word there. Eugenics doesn't mean like genetic manipulation and stuff like that. You know, like it's a very specific sort of racial hygiene category, you know, of science. We engage in it all the time, like through vaccinations and so on and so forth. There's positive and negative. Anyway, it's just completely the wrong word, and it's very weird. But whatever. I
wondered about that, but I went with it.
Yeah. Moore's a funny guy. Like he, in interviews and stuff, he'll comment like he was like, I don't actually completely understand the science that I write about, but I've got a good way to make it seem authentic, right? Like he's pretty open about that. And as a consequence, he flubs in the same way that I know that Warren Ellis has a couple flubs where people kind of made fun of him and he had to kind of do a mea culpa on those things. So it happens. It's part of the British tradition, I suppose. Oh well.
Yeah. It's a lot to expect someone to like to have mastered science and then also, do all these other things. And
honestly, there's no science involved here. All he had to say, I hadn't realized that genetic manipulation was so advanced now. That's it. Like there's a mutant links. Where's the science here? It's
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah. And we get a little callback to the John blinking everyone out of the studio because that's exactly how he deals with the
yes, yeah.
Two people died of a heart attack.
That's right.
But that's better than what would have happened. And honestly, like that is like that's a utilitarian moral calculation that probably makes a lot of sense, but is not going to endear you to the press.
I think that we kind of skipped over it. The Kennedy assassination. He's unable to stop the Kennedy assassination where, Watchmen is an alternate history, but its alternate history is very strange. I already commented on this, but like it veers towards like Russia's going to invade Afghanistan. So actually, let me rewind. The change is that Nixon gets, reelected and reelected and reelected. And so you would think that Nixon being reelected and reelected would alter, it wouldn't be about Afghanistan. There would be a no Iran hostage negotiation, all that stuff. But Moore kind of wants their cake and eat it too, to use that metaphor again, where the history follows more or less the same path, despite the fact that it's Nixon over and over again, which is, I don't know, it's fine. It's not a fucking super crime or anything, but there is this mass conservatism. Not that Kennedy was a piece of shit. Let me be fucking clear about this. But he had the symbol and continues to have the symbol of the lost America, the progressivism that could have been, all that stuff. And I think it's symbolic, given that myth, given the Kennedy myth, it's symbolic that, or meaningful that John doesn't stop his assassination. And maybe it's also meaningful that changes nothing, or it changes it marginally. The only reason I went down this tangent is because the comedian is able to alter history, whereas the Iran hostage crisis lasted 444 days. With the comedian involved, it's just fucking dealt with comedian style, whatever the fuck he did. And so I guess I see a contrast between the two figures. One is able actually to affect history, and the other is not, or refuses to. Could, but does not. I don't know. That was kind of a tangent. I don't know I think that's the full thought, is just like the book shows that history can be changed, and John does not.
And he's got like all of those underpinnings, like everything that happens in the past. Like you'd be saddled with like, well, if I change this thing, then like will these other elements be worse, or there'd just be so many, like you just be in moral paralysis because you see too much of it.
But he doesn't mind about what brought me to this is the protesters, and your comment about moral calculus. Like he's justifying for himself why he took that course of action, saying it would have been worse.
In that case, he was told like that, like he doesn't mind taking orders. Consistently see that, because like, and like they point him at a thing. He's like, oh, I gotta do the thing.
You're right.
Yeah, I think it's almost like he just doesn't have time or like care to like really do anything other than like, you know what, this is not worth my time. Everyone, just go back to your homes.
I guess it certainly shows the limits of his capacity to know anything. Because he's, like I'm more would have suffered during a riot, I'm certain, but that doesn't, like, we never see him seeing like, if I killed this fly, the universe would branch in such a direction, right? Like that's not the sort of knowledge he has. It's like, no, but maybe it could have.
You know what the problem is?
Yeah,
he doesn't read the papers like comedian.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. He doesn't have that. He doesn't have a subscription to the New York Times. That's right. I think you're right.
Yeah, then you'd feel like you knew exactly what to do.
Yeah, his only interaction with news media is Time Magazine.
Just because he's like sort of on the cover. Well, I assume it's about him.
I suppose there's two. I was thinking of the stopped watch, like in that sequence that I was talking about. Like there's the Hiroshima watch. It's on the cover. There's a damaged pocket watch stopped at the instant of the blast, face cracked. I guess there's a newspaper with Veidt on it. Yeah, there's a couple newspapers, but he's not really reading them. And more significantly, Janie's reading them. Other people are reading them around him.
Yeah, because Janie's absolutely horrified, and as you know, you would be. Oh, you knew Kennedy was going to die, and you did nothing. And that's a big moment. She has all these moments where she's just sort of like, "What is this?" In fact, the only thing, I don't know if you have a lot to take out of the back matter. The only thing that I cared was that
I don't know.
Yeah, just the idea that like his associate, the professor, is like, what do you say? Like he was completely disintegrated, and then something like an electromagnetic field resembling a consciousness was preserved, and like it's like what is that thing? Like is it even human? Like it's or did it just like, is it something that like clung to the shape and like came back?
Yeah. I think the only thing from the back matter, and I guess this builds off of that, he says like it's almost certainly unrepeatable. And I'm like, why?
Yeah, because then the Russians can't have one.
Yeah, right. Like you're like, well, it was just some dude who got pushed around by his dad. You got to be able to find another one of those guys. just put him in the machine, and like. I mean, I don't think that would be a good idea for the world, but yeah, I just thought it really struck me as a cop-out, another cop-out, just answering the question for the fans, like, why don't the Russians do it? Unrepeatable. Sorry. Can't be done.
Yeah. Well, it was a freak occurrance.
Well, they probably tried a whole bunch and it just produced a bunch of dead bodies, Uber style.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I picture that going too.
Yeah.
Somewhere in like a gulag or like, yeah.
Although you probably don't want to make one of your prisoners like a god creature. That's a tough one. Who do you put in there? Yeah, and like probably you're best off taking the person who most doesn't want to be turned into goo. I don't know.
Unrepeatable.
All right. Okay. So I already commented on the flow of images at this point. Laurie's leaving him. We're finally getting brought up to the present, and he's back on Mars. And we get in all of this him building his castle thing like this, like it's classic sort of predestination sort of thing, like the shape below me in the sand, the secret shape of my creation is concealed, buried in the sand's future. I rise into the thin air. And then he gains, and then he's like, did my father cause this? And who makes the world? And yeah, I mean, the thing with predestination is I find that's just not something that you can argue against or for. It's just true. It's a temperament. It's a feeling. It's a thought exercise. And here in Dr. Manhattan, we get this temperament, feeling, thought exercise given sort of a graphic narrative expression.
Yeah. It's very classical physics too. Like in Newtonian physics, like once something's set in motion and wound, like nothing's going to stop it. Like its effects are going to be, you could map it out mathematically, and it's predictable in a sense. Of course, the irony being that this new realm of physics upends all that. But yeah, I don't know. It's you're right. Like we're still left with the question: is John just making excuses for all of this? Like, could he have changed things if he cared to?
Mm-hmm. Who makes the world?
Was it his father? Was it this? Was it that?
Which is interesting, because he's supposedly, like, in the back matter, like God is real and he's American or that kind of thing, and like even John is asking the basic questions despite all of his tools. He's still quite small in the universe. There's still a patheticness to him as a man battered around by cosmic forces. I think that helps. That goes a long way to making us care about him.
Yeah. And the sadness of like just the repetition, like the feel, like knowing all these things are going to happen, even as he talks to Janie, like, oh, I always want you, but like I see the lie of that. Like I'm flashing forward to 80 to like, when I leave you, and like that's you can't help but feel emotion for that.
Yeah. Even if he himself is unable to, the trick of the greatest trick the devil ever played was making us feel for Dr. Manhattan. Yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed this. Although we've talked about it for near an hour now, fruitfully, I do find the other issues, because of like their I don't know, like their lack of perfection, like their I don't know, for their lack of formalist rigor. This thing's really tight, and as a consequence, and has a very specific purpose, place setting, character setting, all that sort of thing. And I feel the plot and some of the other dynamics within the world that's being established are sort of set aside, which is fine. That's the purpose of this issue. But I did find myself more enthusiastic about the sort of small insights that have been gathered from the other issues.
Sure.
As much as I enjoyed this, but
yeah, absolutely. No, just like it is a stasis in a way. Like we're really getting almost like a deep into like a moment in time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't think there's. Well, actually, maybe the final thing about the back matter is that Professor Milton Glass, old Stanley, I think he ends up. I think we kind of reached the same point that he arrives at, which is just like John is not the end of wars. He's kind of he's kind of a mess, and the world, like politics, didn't stop because he exists, and we're still in grave danger. And that, I think that's helpful for the audience to. It's helpful for the writer to maintain tension. It's helpful for the reader to stop themselves from leaving the I don't know, the naturalistic realm that Moore wants to place this world in, and keep it grounded away from superheroics, because like basically he just did superpowers for a whole issue, which is not something that this comic really does.
Yeah, that's insightful. I think there's also that like it reminds us, first of all, that now that he's because the persistent threat is that, you know, this scientist is saying, like, if the Soviets choose mutually assured destruction, John can only stop like 60% of them, and like 40% is enough to destroy the world. So like we are in a false sense of security, and then it brings up the sort of like the inflation, the inflated sort of confidence that America has experienced because of the alliance of because John's on their side. So like it's fueled their tech, it's fueled their foreign policy. And now that he stepped away, like the danger is greater than ever, because like that pillar, like what the entire world order has rested on is suddenly just like disappeared. And America is going to be on its back foot because like they don't even know how to act anymore without that advantage.
Yeah, which we saw at the end of the last issue when Nixon is getting it, like the projections about what would happen at the East Coast and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that might be that. If unless you think otherwise.
No.
Oh. All right. So obviously we're going to do another about a month from now. We'll do Watchmen issue number 5 next week, or relatively soon before the end of the year, God willing. If the great wind allows, if Dr. Manhattan and the force that keeps the universe in motion allows. We'll do Iron Man 3. Fucking sorry, I don't know. I started laughing.
You're excited for that
one. Yeah, I'm pretty fucking excited.
Was talking about the theory that universes can actually reproduce, and that our universe might be so apparently evolved because it's not a first generation universe. It has been created down the enormous birth canal of a black hole, and thus has inherited its parent universe's more manageable attributes. And then I talked about the idea that we may well be living in a computer simulation. And I finally rounded off the evening with a brief discourse about how recent evidence seems to show that we are in fact a hologram being projected from the outside edge of the universe. And as I pointed out, this is stuff that rationalists find credible. I would say in that light that my worship of a 2nd century sock puppet snake god seems entirely reasonable.